You ever have one of those mornings where it feels like your whole life is about to be steamrolled? Literally. That's how my day started, the day I found out the lakefront cabin my late brother left me suddenly belonged to the HOA. That news was delivered by Patricia Walsh, president of the HOA, though around here most folks call her Karen when she's not listening. She showed up on my porch, smug as a cat with cream, waving a stack of official-looking documents like they were gospel. Behind her, her son Jack and his little crew of vandals had just finished destroying my brother's memorial garden. Years of lavender, wildflowers, and memories flattened like they were weeds. The night before, I'd kicked those same boys out for throwing a rave at the cabin. My property. They called the cops on me. And not because I raised my voice or caused trouble. No. Patricia claimed I was illegally blocking community access. My own damn driveway. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about teenagers partying. This was about control. Patricia thought she owned everything, and she wasn't afraid to push anyone out who didn't play by her rules. I'd come up to the lake that weekend for peace after a brutal week at work. Instead, I stepped out of my car and saw destruction where David's garden used to be. The lights he strung, the little wooden bird he carved before he died. Broken, tossed by the water like trash, shock hit me first. Then I remembered the old camera David had mounted under the eaves. He'd gotten nervous about break-ins toward the end. I powered up his dusty computer, and sure enough, there it was. Footage of Jack and his buddies hauling beer coolers, stomping through the garden, laughing like they owned the place. You could hear me on the recording comm, polite, asking them to respect the space. Jack looked straight into the lens and smirked. Watch this, guys. Time to teach the old man a lesson. Then came the boots, the cheers, the flowers crushed to mud. I thought it was just a stupid kid's move until I noticed something in the background. A black Mercedes tucked behind the trees, Patricia's car. She was there, watching it all unfold. I showed the footage to my neighbor, Henry Silverhaired, hands built for tools and truth. He just shook his head. I've been warning people about her for years, he said. She's been building her own empire under the radar. Now she thinks she owns the lake. And just like that, I realized this wasn't random. It was calculated. Someone wanted to erase David's memory, rip it up root and stem. I hadn't crossed Patricia before. I barely knew her. But she'd decided I didn't belong. She was going to make sure I got the message, so I started gathering proof. Screenshots. Dates. Notes. I'm a data analyst, know how to build a timeline. When I showed up at Patricia's manicured doorstep, she opened the door like I was a package from Amazon she didn't remember ordering. I introduced myself, showed her the footage. She barely blinked. Boys will be boys, she said. Might be overreacting, cold, condescending. When I pushed back, called it what it was. Vandalism, her tone flipped. I'm the HOA president. Maybe you should consider whether this is the right community for someone like you. She gave that kind of smile that hides a knife behind the teeth. The next morning, I put up a small wooden sign. Pilgrim property, please respect, simple, peaceful, felt good for about 12 hours. Then I found it torn apart and floating in. The lake. Tire tracks everywhere. And in the mailbox. A formal violation notice from the HOA. $500 fine for unauthorized signage. Patricia's favorite clause, Section 1 to C. Vague language that lets her decide what's harmonious. I started reading every word of those bylaws, 47 pages of vague threats dressed up as community values. And buried in that mess was her power play. Section 1 to C gave the HOA the ability to force a sale if a property owner racked up enough violations. That night, Jack and crew threw another party louder, messier, waving a banner that read, "Still here, deal with it." Someone hurled a beer bottle. Through my window, inside was a note, 24 days left, old man. But I didn't call the cops. I didn't yell. I got to work. Deep in a box David left behind marked original purchase. I found it. A surveyor's map from 1987. It was crystal clear. The lakefront and the lake itself were owned by our family, not the HOA. Somewhere along the way, the community map had been quietly redrawn. Patricia knew. She had access to the records. Didn't confront her yet? Just sent a short email. Found something interesting in the old survey. 2 hours later, cops showed up. Officer Rodriguez Collide.com. Tired of HOA drum. All listened as I laid it all out. Showed him the footage, the original survey, the violations. Patricia rolled in 10 minutes later with binders and spreadsheets, trying to drown him in paperwork. Claimed the HOA had the right to buy me out at market value, $75,000, for lakefront property worth 10 times that. She handed Rodriguez the appraisal like it was a warrant. Her final weapon? Section 1, to see the rule she'd written herself. She was setting me up to lose. Rodriguez finally said we both needed lawyers. Called every real estate attorney. In the county, most said the same thing. $15,000 to $25,000 just to fight. No guarantees. That night, I sat by the water, letter to David in one hand, whiskey in the other. I almost walked away. Then Henry knocked. A thermos of tea. Quiet eyes, request their financials, he said. It's your right. That's how I caught her once on my garden fight. She's hiding something, so I did. Requested every receipt, invoice, and expenditure the HOA had filed for the last 3 years. Patricia stalled, dodged, claimed privacy.
Oh.
Meanwhile, I got hit with a new violation every single day. Kayak too visible, porch chair at the wrong angle, color of my towel. She was paper trailing me into a forced sale. Then Henry dropped the bomb. $47,000 paid to a landscaping company, registered to Patricia's own address. Fake invoices for community improvements that just happened to benefit her private estate. With Henry's records in the delayed HOA docs, I built a spreadsheet, dates, dollars, names. Clear as daylight, Patricia had embezzled tens of thousands in HOA funds. Her wall, her gardens, her upgrades paid for by everyone else. We called an emergency HOA meeting. 42 neighbors showed. Patricia opened with a resolution to purchase my property. Then I connected my laptop to the projector. Slide 1. Jack trashing David's garden. Gasps. Slide 2. The original 1987 survey. Silence. Slide 3. HOA financials. Anyone here heard of Greenscape Landscaping? Hands went up. Slide 4 there. Registered business address, Patricia's home. Then Henry took the floor. Read the payments line by line. Patricia's face went pale. She tried to talk over us, but I showed the fake invoices. That's when she cracked. Fine, maybe I used some funds, but I earned that. I've given years to this community. Confession echoed, and there was Rodriguez, standing in the back of the room, nodding slowly. 2 weeks later, Patricia was charged with fraud. Jack sentenced to community service and ordered to pay restitution. Henry was voted in as interim HOA president. I kept the lakefront, built a public garden there, dedicated to David. A quiet place. It's peaceful again. 6 months later, Patricia's lawyer sent me a letter. She was appealing, suing me for emotional distress. Even behind bars, some people just can't stand to lose. You know, people always underestimate the quiet ones. Sometimes we're the only thing standing between a bully and the truth. So what do you think? Did justice finally catch up with Patricia? Or did she just get what was coming to her? Drop your thoughts below. Should HOAs have this much power, or did karma just land a long overdue punch? It's like, comment and share if you've ever faced a bully and refused to back down.